We're going to have a look at the E major chord. The E major chord plays all the strings from the E down to an open E. The E being your root note of the chord. The notes of the E major are E, open, A, second fret, B note, D, second fret, E note, G, first fret, which is a G sharp, B open, and E open. So it's the E string open, the A string second fret, the D string second fret, the G string first fret, the B open, and the E open. E major. Play the chord nice and slowly, arpeggiate the chord, which just means to break the chord up so you hear each note rather than strumming. Make sure all the strings are ringing out nice and clear. If there's any buzzing or muting, it's because in this case it's because my second finger is touching the top E, or if your third finger on the E is touching the G string, that will mute the G sharp. Now another way of playing the E major chord is to use your second, third and fourth finger. Now it's useful to try and use the second, third and fourth finger rather than the first, second and third, and just swapping them around and then going back to the original shape, because using your second, third and fourth finger will be really handy when you come to play bar chords, because the E position will be your first bar chord you really look at, or most people look at. So if you're comfortable with that position already, it's going to be a big advantage when you start moving up the neck to play a bar chord. So just try playing it with the first, second and third finger and then swapping it all over. And it's another good exercise just to be moving very slightly with your hand and just changing your hand very slowly over to a different chord, to a different shape. It's taking all your fingers off the fretboard, moving your fingers very slightly and landing back down and keeping all the strings ringing out nice and clear. And try swapping it back to be using your second, third and fourth fingers, and then back to the first, second and third, and then all off the fretboard again, changing your position of your fingers, landing them back down on the fretboard. It makes all the same chord. But it is practice of taking your fingers off the fretboard, landing them back down on the fretboard, taking them off the fretboard, landing them back down, even though it's the same position. It's just getting used to moving your fingers around. And getting your fingers used to them shapes. Because that's what it comes down to, is just getting your fingers used to the shapes, where they're going to land on the guitar for different chords. If we go back to the first shape I showed you, there could be a possibility that you're having problems if you're touching the top string with your second finger, if your third finger is muting the G string and muting the G sharp. Remember not to have your fingers on the frets or too far back and all crunched together. Spread your fingers out and keep them nicely to the frets but not on the frets, because if they're on the frets the chord won't ring out. If it's too far away, It's important to play the strings slowly so you can find out which string isn't sounding right and then correct it. How to play an E major chord.